How does a college dropout from a modest Brooklyn apartment rise into the inner circles of billionaires, royalty, and world leaders? How does someone with no degree, no public financial empire, and no transparent track record become one of the most connected men on the planet? Before the investigations, before the courtrooms, before the global headlines, there was a beginning, quiet, ordinary, almost invisible. Jeffrey Epstein, the rise of a predator. Jeffrey Edward Epstein was born in 1953 in Brooklyn, New York, into a working-class family. His father worked for the New York City Parks Department, maintaining public spaces, while his mother worked as a school aide. They lived in a modest housing complex, far removed from the elite world of private jets and sprawling estates that would later define their son's life. Nothing in those early surroundings suggested future access to unimaginable wealth and influence. As a child, Epstein showed academic promise, particularly in mathematics. Teachers reportedly viewed him as intelligent and advanced for his age. He skipped grades and graduated high school early, building an early reputation as someone intellectually ahead of the curve. That narrative, the image of brilliance, would follow him throughout his life. Intelligence became part of his identity, part of the persona he would later present to powerful individuals. After high school, he attended Cooper Union and later enrolled at New York University, studying physics and mathematics. But he never completed a degree. He left without graduating. No diploma, no advanced credentials. In most traditional career paths, that absence would close doors. For Epstein, it did not. In the mid-1970s, he secured a teaching position at the Dalton School in Manhattan, one of the most prestigious private schools in New York City. Dalton was not an ordinary institution. It educated the children of Wall Street executives, corporate leaders, and socially influential families. Epstein, still in his early 20s and without a completed college degree, had entered an environment defined by wealth and power. At Dalton, he was more than just a math teacher. He was positioned at the crossroads of opportunity. He interacted not only with students but with parents who controlled major financial institutions. He observed the habits, language, and expectations of the elite. He absorbed the culture of confidence and exclusivity. Colleagues later described him as composed and socially strategic, someone who understood the value of relationships, ****. After only a few years, he left Dalton. The departure was described as routine, though later accounts suggested questions lingered. Regardless, the transition marked a turning point. Through connections reportedly formed during his teaching years, Epstein moved into the world of high finance. He joined Bear Stearns, a major Wall Street investment bank. For someone without a degree, this was unusual. Yet he entered the firm and began working in options trading, a complex and high-risk area of finance requiring sharp analytical skills. He rose quickly within the organization. By his late 20s, he had become a limited partner, an achievement that reinforced the perception that he possessed rare financial acumen. Colleagues described him as analytical, calm under pressure, and persuasive with clients. He learned how wealth moves, how billionaires structure assets, how risk is calculated, how discretion is valued above all else. But in 1981, Epstein abruptly left Bear Stearns. The reasons were never fully detailed publicly. Once again, the door closed quietly, and another opened, ***, soon after. He established his own financial management operation. Unlike traditional investment firms, Epstein cultivated mystery. He claimed to work exclusively with clients whose net worth exceeded $1 billion. It was a bold positioning strategy, exclusivity over volume. He did not advertise broadly. He did not build a visible hedge fund empire. Instead, he built an aura, ***, throughout the 1980s and 1990s. His personal wealth appeared to expand dramatically. He purchased an enormous townhouse on Manhattan's Upper East Side, one of the largest private residences in the city. He acquired estates in Palm Beach, New Mexico, and Paris. Eventually, he purchased a private island in the Caribbean. He traveled by private jet. He hosted gatherings attended by academics, executives, and globally recognized figures. ***, to the outside world, Epstein projected the image of a discreet financial architect serving the ultra-wealthy. He positioned himself as someone who understood complex financial strategies and global networks. He cultivated relationships across business, politics, and academia. He presented himself as intellectually curious, funding scientific initiatives and engaging with researchers. ***, yet even as his lifestyle became more extravagant, transparency remained limited. There was no widely known public investment vehicle carrying his name. Few employees were publicly identified. Financial disclosures were minimal. His fortune was visible through property and access, but the mechanisms behind it were opaque. That opacity became part of his mystique. He was a man who seemed to operate beyond conventional scrutiny. ***, by the late 1990s and early 2000s, Epstein had embedded himself within powerful social circles. He attended elite gatherings, built connections with influential figures, and maintained an image of calculated confidence. From Brooklyn housing complexes to Manhattan mansions, the transformation was complete. ***, but success built on discretion depends on silence. And silence over time can fracture Dodd in Palm Beach, Florida, where Epstein owned a waterfront estate. Troubling reports began to surface in the early 2000s. At first, they were isolated and localized, not yet amplified by national media. Epstein continued his routine, traveling, hosting, networking. Publicly, he remained a wealthy financier with extraordinary access. ***, yet beneath that polished exterior, the foundation was beginning to tremble. The world had seen the rise. The connections were secured. The lifestyle was established. But the same exclusivity that elevated him would soon shield something far more serious. And what started as whispers in a small Florida community would grow into an investigation that would challenge not only one man's reputation, but the systems that surrounded him